Sound test. All good? 1, 2.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us this morning. I think, hopefully, we will all agree, I certainly do, that it was an amazing opening ceremony. So thank you very much to our hosts. That was absolutely fantastic, and that will be the main topic. But obviously, as ever, we will, after we've dealt with those questions, we're happy to deal with all the questions remaining. I should just say, obviously, we have had some sport already underway, but now we have 10 venues in action today, 5 medal events, so it's really getting going. I'm aware, by the way, that the men's downhill has already started, and someone's saying no, and someone's shaking their head at me, but it's 11:30. But for tomorrow, we understand also that I think it's women, so we will try to move a little bit earlier. So if you do really want to come and torture me and my guests, then we'll try and do it earlier, give you a bit more time. So without further ado, let me introduce the top table. So I have from Milano-Cortina 2026, Andrea Varnier, who you all know, CEO of Milano-Cortina, and Maria Laura Iasconi, Ceremonies Director. Big congratulations to you. And my counterpart over the next couple of weeks for this grand tour is Luca Casassa. So we will be here every day. Quick bit of housekeeping. There is translation in 8 languages. There's an app with a QR code, so hopefully you can follow us in any language you want to. We have remote questions as well, and if you're watching remotely, there's a media zone where you can submit your questions, and we'll try and take a few of those throughout. So, without further ado, let me move. Let's start with Andrea. Andrea, your thoughts, your view of last night's amazing ceremony. Andrea.
Buongiorno a tutti, grazie Mark. La giornata di ieri era una giornata molto speciale per noi, ma in generale la cerimonia d'apertura è sempre una giornata speciale per qualsiasi comitato organizzatore. Non solo perché ovviamente attraverso la cerimonia di apertura si racconta e si dà il tono all'edizione dei giochi che si comincia, ma anche perché la cerimonia d'apertura è l'evento che impegna di più in assoluto un comitato organizzatore. È il massimo numero di tutti i nostri stakeholders insieme, per cui il massimo numero di spettatori, il massimo numero di atleti, il massimo numero di media, il massimo numero di dignitari, per cui è tutto al massimo e succede il primo giorno. Per cui ovviamente è una grande e importante esame per chi da alcuni anni sta lavorando per preparare questi giochi. Per cui la prima cosa a cui tengo molto è che ieri le cose sono andate dal punto di vista delle operazioni generali molto bene. Io ringrazio anche la squadra di chi se ne occupa, in particolare il mio collega Andrea Francisi, che è il nostro Games Operation Officer. Grazie Andrea, perché non era semplice in un contesto molto particolare come quello che abbiamo scelto per queste cerimonie. Queste cerimonie per la prima volta non si sono svolte in un luogo solo, ma si sono svolte in 4 luoghi diversi, in realtà di più, perché poi abbiamo acceso anche il braciere olimpico in centro a Milano. Per cui questa complicazione si è aggiunta e io sono molto soddisfatto del risultato che abbiamo portato a casa. In particolare aver dato la possibilità agli atleti che vivono nei villaggi in montagna di partecipare a una vera cerimonia, per cui non semplicemente salutare dal villaggio o fare una cosa di quel tipo di partecipazione, ma sfilare davvero usando le loro uniformi, la loro bandiera. E io ho potuto vedere le immagini di questi atleti sorridenti da Livigno, da Predazzo e poi ovviamente da Cortina, dove abbiamo anche fatto alcuni momenti protocollari insieme a Milano e alcuni anche solo a Cortina. Per esempio i giuramenti di atleti tecnici si sono svolti solo a Cortina, per cui una formula innovativa che che ovviamente implicava ancor più complicazioni logistiche. Io ringrazio anche chi ha poi fatto le riprese televisive, perché poi le cose sono incastrate molto bene. Poi, siccome stiamo parlando di Olimpiadi e ci piace parlare anche di record, crediamo di aver fatto il record del maggior numero di biglietti venduti a una cerimonia olimpica invernale nella storia. Abbiamo venduto 61.221 biglietti, però abbiamo coinvolto in realtà molte più persone, perché circa altre 10.000 erano presenti nelle cerimonie remote, per cui credo un numero straordinario per una cerimonia invernale, per cui una grande sfida di cui siamo molto, molto orgogliosi. Per parlare un po' però delle cerimonie, Mark, se mi permetti, io lascerei la parola a Maria Laura Iascone, la nostra direttrice delle cerimonie, per raccontare un pochino di più della cerimonia stessa.
Grazie Andrea, grazie, buongiorno a tutti. Indubbiamente oggi essere qui è una grandissima emozione, perché abbiamo lavorato per anni a questa cerimonia con l'obiettivo di raccontare lo spirito italiano e di rendere orgogliosa l'Italia del racconto che avremo fatto al mondo. Quindi questa cerimonia, grazie soprattutto al genio, al talento di Marco Balic, è riuscita a comunicare quello che noi volevamo, cioè lo spirito italiano, la nostra passione, l'armonia, che era il titolo della cerimonia e che ha raccontato l'unione fra i territori olimpici, l'unione fra la città e la montagna, l'unione fra le persone, quindi il forte valore della pace, ma anche naturalmente abbiamo raccontato la nostra italianità, quindi speriamo di aver fatto sorridere e di aver fatto commuovere chi ci ha guardato ieri sera. Tutto questo in un carnevale anche di colori, di emozione, di musiche incredibili che abbiamo creato per questa cerimonia, e che tutto insieme aveva l'obiettivo davvero di affascinare il mondo e di raccontare al meglio il nostro paese e i valori olimpici a tutto quanto il mondo. Alcuni numeri li do anch'io, perché è stato un lavoro enorme, quindi migliaia di persone hanno lavorato a questa cerimonia, 1.400 performer, di cui 1.200 volontari, altre migliaia di volontari della fondazione, di tutti coloro che ci hanno aiutato, sparsi anche nei territori, più di 700 ore di prove, 500 musicisti che hanno lavorato nella composizione delle musiche, quindi grandi numeri per rendere questa cerimonia naturalmente indimenticabile.
Thank you very much, Maria Laura. Let's get an IOC view from our Executive Director for the Games, Christophe Duby. Christophe.
Official view given by Mark Adams, amazing. Oh, once you've said this, it's summarized. Just a few considerations, they might be a bit more personal, but the feeling I had in that ceremony was how elegant, how beautiful the imagery, but also how profoundly Italian yet universal that ceremony was. Values are always universal, right? And you can convey them from an Italian standpoint. And I thought it was incredibly powerful, incredibly powerful. You did such a great job, all of you, from the table here to Marco Balic, who was just referred to. Goosebumps. You know, I always say that, but I really mean it. When you see these images, I don't know about you, but for me, it's really moving, really moving. Now, this morning, we also got the official view from the athletes through the Athletes Commission. And yes, they said exactly this. What an opportunity it was for the first time to give them a chance, those that are in the mountains, always remote, that can never be part of the ceremony, to be marching, and how proud and happy they were. And when we said, yes, it's dispersed, but we owe it to the athletes to do something special. And can you be creative and find the solution? You did find the solution, all of you. So on behalf of them, thank you so very much. You have to go by the Italian colleagues as well. And this morning we had chit-chats prior to the formality of meetings, which every day we have the whole team together. They were so proud. They were so proud. A few of them said, we cried yesterday. And by the way, we have to go from our colleagues to those people helping, the volunteers, and I have one with me every day, the driver, and he's 22. He's younger than my son. He's fantastic. And he went to the ceremony, and it was so moving to hear from him this morning in the car and how proud he was. So I say really good job, and that's from the show standpoint. But what matters also when we are in our position, Mark, and with the IOC is operations. And I know it's the other end of the spectrum. It's really boring, but it was such a good plan, and a good plan which worked. Egress of an opening ceremony is a nightmare. You've been there, done that. How many times was it complicated? This time it was fantastic. Fantastic. And can I say that over the last days, there were many movements of dignitaries, a number of very important people in town. All of them, all the movement, including yesterday, seamless. And here, credit to the police forces. They're doing a fantastic job to help with the operations. Grazie tanto to all of them, really. That would conclude the initial comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Happy to take all your questions, but if there are questions about the opening ceremony and stuff and all that, it would be good to get those first, and then we'll come to everything we have. So yes, gentlemen. Yeah.
Bonjour, Bruno Fraioli de sportbusiness.club. Je vais poser ma question en français. En fait, 2-3 petites questions. Ça concerne Maria Carey. Avez-vous été satisfait de la prestation de Maria Carey? Quel a été son cachet pour venir? J'ai lu que, alors je suis pas très bon en italien, mais j'ai lu qu'elle aurait chanté un petit peu en yaourt, comme on dit. Et puis, dernière chose, j'ai vu que les audiences sur la RAI étaient de 9,2 millions. Êtes-vous satisfait de ce chiffre? Merci.
Pensiamo che la performance di Mariah Carey sia stata eccezionale in un momento della cerimonia estremamente emozionante. Come tutti i nostri artisti, Mariah non ha avuto alcun compenso, perché questa è la condizione di partecipazione alle nostre cerimonie, e noi siamo stati onorati di averla con noi, perché indubbiamente ha creato un momento magico già nella magia di quel momento. Quindi siamo estremamente soddisfatti del risultato della sua performance come grande talent, che ha rappresentato comunque un momento estremamente anche gioioso. Concludeva un segmento che era quello della fantasia e ci ha regalato anche questa canzone in italiano, che è stato un momento molto, molto sentito da chi era allo stadio.
Non abbiamo capito la seconda domanda, non era se la Sì, siamo assolutamente, scusi, non avevo capito. Siamo assolutamente contenti, stiamo ricevendo i dati piano piano, non li abbiamo tutti, però la prima sensazione è anche di quelli che il CIO ha condiviso con noi questa mattina, sono dei dati veramente ottimi e che ci fanno molto piacere, ma credo che avremo una visione più complessiva e globale nei prossimi giorni.
Yeah, I think, as Andrea said, I think we'll come to proper figures when we get them. In fact, we'll have a full presentation, so you can ask about that later in the week. But we'll get some better figures at some stage. Yes, at the back there. Yeah, I think it's Matt.
Hi, I'm Matt Lawton from The Times. I can't actually believe I'm asking this, but there's been an awful lot of noise on social media and on the internet and in some media outlets that Mariah Carey was miming last night, lip-syncing. I just wondered if the organisers know if she did actually perform live or if that was a recording.
Maria Laura, do you want to take that question?
In tutte quante le cerimonie per sicurezza si registrano sempre, ma perché questa è una pratica di tutti quanti gli eventi internazionali con un broadcast di questo livello. Quindi per noi la sua performance di ieri, ripeto, è stata straordinaria, un momento magico per tutti e quindi siamo estremamente soddisfatti del risultato. E le immagini lo dimostrano perché sono magiche.
Robert there, yeah. You get the...
Rob Livingstone, GameSpids.com. Question for Christoph. I've been asking you this since 2019 about the opening ceremonies and the athletes being dispersed. And you've already told us some great comments about how you felt and how it turned out. But did you notice any gaps? Was there anything that you thought might be able to be improved or changed if such a thing were done again in the future?
Well, you can always improve. I think the only remark we got was the length, and it's a pretty complex operation. So can we do it better? Can we optimize? To be analyzed. We have the broadcasters that picked up the signal and said that it was really good in the stadium. You felt at some point that there were gaps, but it's such a complex production that so far. Shooting from the hip would not bring anything. So we have to analyze all of this. As we're going to analyze, and you heard the president a few days ago, these games from an operational standpoint, that is very clear, but also from an experience standpoint. And we always said that we're starting with the athletes, and we said if they are happy, it will be the first marker of these games. Ceremony, tick that box. What we said as well is every single day now we will have these public viewing, the live sites, and I visited a number of, all of them actually, while touring the mountains. And now it's going to be the second round of athletes park and enjoyment every single day. So it starts tonight in the various clusters. So hopefully we are equally successful because it starts with them, the fans, and if we have those markers green, then we have a first response to the dispersed games.
Okay, yeah, let's move across.
Thank you.
Carlos.
U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance was booed at the opening ceremony. What's your reaction to that? Do you have any statistics about viewership online and on television for the opening ceremony? And just to put a bow on it, there's photos and video of Mariah Carey using a teleprompter for phonetic Italian. Is that true? Can you speak to that?
So, maybe on figures, as we said, we will get you better figures when we have them. It's a little bit overnight, so quite shaky. I don't think we have everything yet. So we'll once we've got everything. On the vice president, what I would say from the IOC point of view is with the next games coming up in Los Angeles, we are super happy, very happy that the US administration is so engaged with the games here and obviously going forward. So that's a great thing for the Olympic movement. I was in the stadium like you last night. I think for me, we're largely a sports organization, and seeing the US team cheered as they were by the audience, fair play, that was fantastic. So very happy. In general, I'd say at sporting events, we like to see fair play. But in terms of having a good relationship with the administration, that's only good news for us. Second question, yeah.
Yeah.
Maria Laura.
Teleprompter, of course, dico in italiano. Sì, avevamo un teleprompter, naturalmente, soprattutto per gli artisti che hanno cantato non nella loro lingua e quindi naturalmente avevano bisogno di un supporto, soprattutto sulla parte di pronuncia. Quindi sì, questo è naturalmente parte dello spettacolo per supportare i grandi talenti che sono sul palco.
I have to say I take my hat off to anyone who sings in front of however many thousand people in a language which isn't their native language. I find it hard enough to speak in French, so chapeau to her, I would say. On the figures, also to say that this morning we had a very short presentation on digital. from one of our directors, we have broken all records on digital. So we know that this was, in some senses, already a record-breaking audience, but we will get you absolute numbers coming up in the future. Yeah, there was another, Carlos Groman, and then we'll come to across to Deseret News.
Very much, Mark. A question for you, Carlos Groman from Reuters. One question regarding the smattering of boos when the Israeli team came in. Are you at all concerned that that could spill over in the competitions with the fans? And are you taking any extra measures? And a question to Andrea. There was concern about how Gali was represented yesterday by the broadcasting of his segment. Do you agree with the criticism that there were no close-ups of the athlete for fear of whatever might be said about his political stance? Thank you.
So I think in terms of the athletes and the teams, whatever background they're from, whatever country they're from, I don't think we like to see any booing there, and I think we want to see sportsperson, I guess I would say, like behavior from everyone. It's important that we support our athletes, and if you want to get philosophical about it, the whole idea of the Olympic movement is, or one of the ideas is that the athletes shouldn't be punished or whatever for whatever their government's done from whatever country they're from, and I think that's really an important thing, that we see the athletes and we see the athletic performance for what it is and what it says about humanity. That was in the speech from the president last night. I think those things are very important. And, you know, I know the Italian supporters, they love their sport. And I think when they start seeing amazing performances from whatever nationality, they will quite rightly cheer those performances. Second question, sorry. Yeah, Andrea.
Io ho visto le immagini e ho trovato le immagini veramente molto belle del segmento di Gali. Il segmento di Gali era una coreografia molto poetica di ragazzi che danzavano e che poi avevano formato una colomba olimpica, per cui credo che l'idea della regia televisiva era quella di vedere l'insieme piuttosto che il singolo, per cui io l'ho trovato un segmento molto poetico e che ha dato un contributo importante all'intera cerimonia.
Okay, let's go to Utah, down here.
Thank you. Lisa Roche from Deseret News in Salt Lake City, Utah. Andrea, I wonder if you could address the difference in the response of the crowd last night to the American athletes coming into the stadium and then the leader of the American delegation to the games, President Vance. And if you would indulge me, if you could answer in English, I think that would be very meaningful. I think a lot of Americans would like to know how Italians feel toward their country right now and how they feel toward our athletes competing here. And I think we saw that last night, but I'd like to hear from you. And if you could in English. Thank you so much. Grazie.
Just as, I mean, I think I'll come to Andre in a minute. I don't want to speak to him, but I mean, I think I answered quite well, I think, what is the Olympic family view, Olympic movement view of the strength of the relationship with the administration, which is a good one. So, and the fact that the American team were cheered to the rafters, I think that's a great thing. But in terms of Italian fans and response, maybe, Andre, if you want to say a few words.
In English? It's a specific request, so I'll do this one.
We can do it phonetically for you if you want.
I'm the head of the Organizing Committee, so I'm not a fan. And so I was looking at the ceremony in a completely different way. And but I was there, and I heard an incredible cheering when the U.S. team entered the stadium. That's what I heard. Honestly, I didn't hear anything else. I just read on the papers afterwards, and so that's my feeling. And again, I was there, and I cannot consider myself a fan at this time. I was busy with other things, but the cheering was amazing.
Andrea, okay. Let's go in the front here to Shida. Yeah.
Hello, this is Takafumi Yoshida from Japanese news agency Kyodo News. About Olympic flag bearer, this is Mr. Akiba Tatoshi, former Hiroshima's mayor. What was the reason of choosing him as a bearer? I know there are many people contributing peace, but why him? Would you tell us?
Yeah, Marie-Laura, do you want to take that one? Yeah.
Yeah. As you have seen, the Olympic flag was, come avete visto la bandiera olimpica è stata portata da simboli diversi che hanno raccontato il valore della pace e dell'armonia. Quindi ciascuno ha contribuito nella propria vita sportiva o personale o professionale a portare avanti dei valori estremamente alti per l'umanità. E quindi tutti hanno contribuito in questo cammino, portando la bandiera olimpica a raccontare i valori della pace, dell'unione, del supporto alle persone più fragili, ciascuno con la propria storia personale, professionale e anche sportiva. E per noi questa scelta è stata proprio quella di calibrare, insieme anche all'IOC, la presenza delle giuste persone che potessero portare al mondo questo messaggio, anche da continenti diversi, perché come avete visto c'erano rappresentanti che venivano da tutto il mondo e questo era il valore che noi volevamo dare, di unione, di pace, di simbolo molto alto.
Okay, I think we've got a question from the mountains, so let's use our super new technology and take a question from a journalist up in the mountains. It's spread out games, by the way, that's why we're doing this.
This one comes in from James Gray at the iPaper, and he asked the panel what measures are being taken to limit the norovirus outbreak in the Milan athletes' village.
Would you like to take this, or do you want me to take this?
You're the specialist. Measures, very simply, standard protocols. And if I go by the one Uno, which is our director for medical and scientific, the response from the team in the village has been outstanding, very precise, very rapid, isolation, providing all the conditions necessary for the athletes to recover and not to disseminate anything further. All the indicators that we have from the team, Finland in particular, going in the right direction. So it's a proof point that what was scheduled in the plan was delivered as planned.
Okay, back in the room. Let's go, a gentleman here, and then I can see a lady at the back there. Yeah.
Je vais poser ma question en français, puisqu'elle sera pour Christophe. Hier soir, on n'a pas vu de marque de partenaires visibles pendant cette cérémonie. Celle de Paris 2024 avait laissé paraître quelques marques engagées dans les Jeux. Je voulais savoir, dans le cadre notamment de Fit for the Future, est-ce que vous êtes de plus en plus ouvert à laisser davantage de marques dans les cérémonies d'ouverture, puisqu'on voit que notamment des marques sont venues sur les podiums, il y aura du naming pour LA 2028 sur les sites. Est-ce que vous comptez revoir un petit peu votre position là-dessus ?
Je pense que ce que l'on a vu hier, effectivement, c'est un retour à une scène qui est vierge de toute marque commerciale. Ça, je pense que c'est un signe quand même très fort pour le futur. C'était d'une fabuleuse dignité, on le voit sur toutes ces images-là qui sont magnifiques. Par contre, c'est vrai que dans le même temps, il faut trouver des initiatives créatives, et ce fut le cas pour Los Angeles qui nous dit, écoutez, il y a peut-être un intérêt à ce que certaines marques, notamment sur les sites, puissent être utilisées, parce que ce sont des noms communs, ce sont des noms que ces stades portent, et en plus, ce sont des marques qui soutiennent les Jeux. Donc là où on peut trouver un intérêt commun, des objectifs qui vont dans la même direction, soyons créatifs. Et je crois que c'est ça le sens des réflexions en cours, c'est que il y a des endroits dans lesquels les marques seront et doivent rester absentes, parce que finalement c'est ce qui fait la grande différence des Jeux avec tous les autres événements. Et puis dans d'autres endroits qui sont importants pour nos partenaires, eh bien, donnons-leur les moyens de briller. Et c'est cet équilibre délicat entre ces deux pôles opposés que l'on doit rechercher.
Okay, right at the back there.
Buongiorno, Valentina Fas di Sky Sport. C'è stato molto interesse per il coinvolgimento del Presidente Mattarella, no? C'è stato il parallelismo con la regina Elisabetta a Londra 2012. Soltanto qualche curiosità per capire un po' meglio com'è nata la storia di questo video, quando è stato registrato. Lo stesso Presidente ha avuto una giornata molto lunga, è stato fatto tutto ieri oppure è stata una cosa organizzata prima?
Per noi è stato naturalmente un grande onore che il Presidente abbia accettato in qualche modo di raccontare il suo arrivo in modo originale. Abbiamo pagato anche un tributo alla bellezza di Milano e a un simbolo di Milano che è il tram. Quindi il Presidente ci ha veramente onorato, il suo ingresso è stato applaudito in modo impressionante, quindi tutto lo stadio lo ha avvolto con un calore e con una grandissima energia. Teniamo qualcosina sempre di un po' nascosto delle cerimonie, se sveliamo tutto si perde un po' la magia di quello che accade. È stata comunque una collaborazione per noi veramente preziosa e molto molto emozionante perché è veramente una persona straordinaria.
I'm just going for our round first questions first, but we will come back to you. Yes, Sean, I think from The Guardian wanted a question.
Sorry, I just had a tangential question related to JD Vance. He met with the president before the ceremony. Can you talk? You said that things went well. Did you meet with Kirsty? Can you just tell about the substance of the chat, what perhaps he said about LA and the preparations, and how that? And I think it was the first time the president had met a member of the administration. So can you just have a little bit more depth about what was said, please?
I can't give you a great deal more depth. I wasn't actually at the meeting. I know they met, and I know it went incredibly well. There was a very good chemistry. They had a very good discussion, and I know, speaking to the president this morning, she was very pleased, and also very pleased about the enthusiasm of the vice president and the whole administration for the games, which obviously for us is an important thing. But I can't give you any more details, and actually probably I wouldn't be allowed to, even if I did have any. So, yeah, Rachel in the front here.
Hello, Sean Fitzgerald from Post Media in Canada. Beyond the Finnish women's hockey team, there has been a reported case of norovirus with a member of the Swiss women's hockey team. Just wondering if you've received any other reports or concerns from further spread, and you mentioned protocols earlier that are in place to limit the spread. I'm wondering if you can sort of outline what some of those protocols might be in the village. Thank you.
One case in the Swiss team, but let's be very clear, no outbreak. And those cases came with symptoms. So again, what was done by the medical teams, super precise, super nicely done. And as far as I understand, the game today happens Swiss-Canada tonight, right? 9-10. I'm following the Swiss, you know. Sometimes I'm a bit Swiss as well. So 9-10, and it goes on as scheduled, so no impact.
Yes, gentleman here. Oh, sorry, Rachel, yeah, you were supposed to be coming before.
Buongiorno, grazie. Una domanda per il signore Varnier, ma in francese se lei è OK. Est-ce que les deux vasques vont rester? Est-ce que vous pensez faire comme Paris, si le CEO est d'accord, mettre des flammes? Et est-ce qu'on pourra aller voir, est-ce que tout le monde pourra aller les voir? Provo in italiano, ma non so il nome per la vasca. Va bene così? Ok. Est-ce que les deux vasques vont rester aussi bien ici qu'à Milan qu'à Cortina? Est-ce que vous, et si le CEO est d'accord, est-ce que vous pourriez faire comme Paris avec une flamme électrique? Est-ce qu'il y aura une sorte de billetterie ou est-ce qu'on pourra aller voir les vasques quand on veut et quel que soit le moment de l'année? Merci beaucoup.
Allora, i nostri calderoni sono due perché per la prima volta nella storia ci sono due città ospitanti. La fiamma che è accesa è una fiamma vera, non è elettrica, però è una fiamma molto, molto piccola e l'idea del calderone è di di invece essere dinamico, per cui di accrescere il valore della fiamma. In realtà il braciere di Milano avrà dei momenti in cui si aprirà, e io lascio la parola perché gli orari esatti li ha Maria Laura, in cui il pubblico potrà andare a vedere senza pagare nessun biglietto. Come ieri sera, il pubblico che c'era lì era il pubblico che è venuto per partecipare a una festa. Anche questa è una grande innovazione delle cerimonie. Noi abbiamo voluto che i nostri tredofori arrivassero al braciere con la gente intorno, ma quella era gente comune che era lì senza aver pagato un biglietto e ha potuto partecipare comunque di un momento importante della cerimonia.
Sì, l'idea del braciere è che continui in qualche modo ad animare e a creare spettacolo dopo la nostra cerimonia, quindi tutti i giorni fino alla fine delle Olimpiadi all'Arco della Pace a Milano, dalle 5 del pomeriggio alle 11 di sera, ogni ora verrà ripreso quella parte che avete visto durante la cerimonia di apertura e chiusura. Questo ci consentirà di mostrare nuovamente l'architettura di questo braciere, che è molto articolata, che è una citazione voluta al genio di Leonardo, dei nodi vinciani, che quindi si apriranno e si chiuderanno per raccontare questa architettura. Quindi entrambi i bracieri faranno parte della vita e dello spettacolo e dell'ingaggio gratuito di tutti quanti coloro che saranno a Milano e anche a Cortina. A Cortina resterà naturalmente acceso per tutta la durata dei giochi. I due bracieri verranno poi riaccesi durante le Paralimpiadi e quindi di nuovo saranno un elemento vibrante delle nostre cerimonie.
Okay, we're going to take these two gentlemen here, and then I'll come over to AP after that.
Hi, Connell Quinn, Reuters News Agency. Just a follow-up question regarding Gali's performance. Gali made comments in the build-up to the opening ceremony. He was critical that a space wasn't made for the Arabic language, to quote him exactly. Firstly, was that true? And secondly, was that an opportunity lost for the Winter Games to appeal to a part of the world, the Arabic-speaking part of the world, which has historically been underrepresented at the Winter Games? We had, for example, this year we have the United Arab Emirates competing for the first time, for example.
Yeah, do you want to take the specific about Gali? Yeah.
Yes, the language that we use during the ceremony is three languages. Is the language of the host country, and it's English and French. And so I think the performance was really poetic. It was using a very famous poetry. Oh, I'm speaking English now, sorry. Scusate, very famous, una poesia molto famosa di Rodari, molto significativa, che quasi tutti i bambini, almeno della mia generazione, conoscono, e è stata fatta nelle tre lingue, per cui credo che questo era lo spirito di quel segmento, e aggiungere un'altra lingua avrebbe creato differenze con tutte le lingue del mondo che sono rappresentate ai giochi olimpici.
Yeah, and I think on the wider issue, I would look, of course I would, from the other end of the telescope and say, actually, it's amazing in terms of the participation that's increasing from parts of the Arab world. Geographically, it's not obviously the greatest place to do winter sports, but it's growing. We had, off the top of my head, we had Saudis, we had UAE, we had many Arab nations, admittedly with small delegations, but it's growing. And it continues to grow. I think in total we had, 96 NOCs. That's, we're really kind of growing. 92 I'm being waved at, but it's a big number and it will continue. So let's hope that does continue. Yeah, gentleman here.
Thanks. It's an IOC question away from the ceremony. Iman Khalif gave an interview in L'Equipe yesterday in which she talked about having suppressed her testosterone before the Paris Games. I just wondered if it was something that you were aware of and where you were with your gender eligibility work.
I haven't seen the interview, to be honest. I know sometimes people say I haven't seen it, but I really haven't. I'm not being Arsene Wenger. I really didn't see it. I'll have a look at it. In terms of protecting the female category, you'll know that for the president, the new president, Kirsty Coventry, the IOC, protecting the female category is one of her key reforms that she wants to bring in. I wouldn't give you a timeline, but I would say that it's going to be happening, I would say, shortly or within the next few months. So it's been out to consultation. We've had to pause and reflect on it. I think, generally speaking, there's a consensus within the sporting movement. So I think you will have a new policy in the first half of this year, I would say. But don't hold me to that. But that's kind of roughly the timescale, I would think. Yes, Graham Dunbar from AP.
Thank you. Graham Dunbar from the Associated Press. Two questions, if I could. One to Christoph, just on norovirus. It seems at the moment it's a women's hockey issue. Is that because it's going to restrict something to do with the venues there? And from what you know at the moment, is it low risk of a possible further outbreak within the main village? Or are there any athletes in other sports that are isolating with symptoms at the moment? And for maybe Andrea, there was maybe some people thought that Yannick Sinner might be involved in the ceremonies last night because he's got a good connection with the mountains as well. Was there any kind of reason why he was not involved? Was it a scheduling issue or a choice or no reason at all?
Graham, love the interaction with you really dearly, but I wouldn't like that the way it is framed, that anyone has a doubt that it could be an outbreak. It is not. We had a few cases coming from Finland, coming with symptoms dealt with. We have one Swiss case coming with symptoms being dealt with in the most appropriate way from the medical team here in the village. So, Graham, please, and everyone, let's not start to make a point about what is currently 5 athletes being dealt with. Great way to get the Finland back in the tournament, by the way, from the Canada team to accept another date. Today it's happening as scheduled. Please. Proper protocols, really well done.
And actually, I can maybe add to that, because I spoke to our medical director, obviously, on this topic this morning, and I sent her a note, and she says there is absolutely no reason to suspect that these cases are related at any stage. So I think... Sorry, I was saying there's absolutely no reason to suspect that these cases are related. So, in other words, it's not an outbreak. I know you got... I understand you need a story, but I don't think that's the one, but there we go.
Allora, rispondendo alla domanda su Yannick Sinner, Yannick è stato il nostro primo volontario. Lui ha partecipato alla preparazione dei giochi, dando la sua disponibilità per lanciare il programma volontari, che ha avuto un successo incredibile. Con noi ci sono 18.000 volontari per i giochi olimpici e paralimpici, ma abbiamo avuto più di 130.000 adesioni, per cui il contributo di Yannick è stato fenomenale, soprattutto nella fase iniziale, e non era prevista una sua partecipazione alla cerimonia.
Okay, I think... Did you want a second question, or are you... No. Okay. We're happy. It doesn't have to be on the opening ceremony, but obviously our team here are concentrating on the start of the games, so I would like to let them go if that's okay with you, and we'll be back tomorrow. Watch this space. I think we're going to try to come half an hour earlier tomorrow so that everyone can see hopefully some interesting skiing. Okay, thank you very much, everybody.